introducing Martha, Chef Nurse Renee. Be lovely. Wow, intermittent fasting. They're lovely. I'm gonna keep throwing in little things on it. But intermittent fasting is one of the. I think besides keto, it's one of the most controversial topics. I mean, fasting has been around for centuries. I mean, suddenly now I feel like it's being talked more about than at any other time in my career. And again, I think it's so popular because it's a very easy way out for people. And I think it's their way of when they turn around and they overindulge and they lose it pretty much. For them to go around and starve themselves for 16 hours is something that's very easy. I mean, it's happened. You turn around and you have some
and it's
food.
like one of the most controversial things, right? There's so many factors that go into it in terms of the timing of it. Like, I even have certain questions about, like, well, when do you consider, does intermittent fasting have to be done at a certain period of time of day? How does it interact with your cortisol levels, and your serotonin levels? Like, is there a time when it's better to do it at a time that's less? I just asked you a joke, before, 2 minutes ago, and I said, well, if I decide to sleep for 12 hours, is that considered?
Yeah, but I mean, think about it. It's actually a really good question because if you're up for only 4 hours, opposed to being up for 8 hours, I mean, that's a big difference. I mean, fasting, being up and on your feet and moving around for, whatever the math is on that. I mean, it's a huge difference. So what's your
So I think it's confusing because there's a lot of different kinds of intermittent fasting, and we just hear that word all the time, intermittent fasting. But some of the major ones, there's time-restricted eating, and that's where you eat a certain amount of hours in the day.
Right.
And it's maybe suggested that you start out eating within a 12-hour window. And a lot of you might say, oh, I do that. But think about it. You might get up at 7:30 in the morning, have a cup of coffee. Like, I know I need coffee, and I put milk in it. So right there, I've broken my fast.
Right.
And then and maybe you have a snack at 10 o'clock at night. So how many hours in the day, you've eaten already, like 16 hours in the day. So most of us don't eat within a 12-hour window.
What benefits, I mean, and I can get into my opinion, but I'm curious to hear from you guys, what do you think is so beneficial about fasting?
Well, I think that our bodies were not made to eat all day long. You look at our ancestors years ago, they might have eaten within a 4 or 6 hour window. We aren't meant to start eating at 7 in the morning all day long until 10 o'clock at night. Because what happens is when we eat, we secrete insulin. And too much insulin is not a good thing. I mean, we needed insulin or we would die, but if you're making insulin all day long, you are storing more body fat. They believe too much insulin might increase risk for some kind of cancer. So it's just not good to eat all day long. And when we fast, so what good happens when we don't eat? A lot of good things happen. When you don't eat, it's like your body's repairing old cells. It's like you're cleaning house. You're upregulating genes that decrease inflammation. You're not making the insulin. You make more growth hormone. So a lot of really good things happen when you don't eat. So, and there's a lot of research going on behind this fasting thing. So I'm not opposed to it. I don't like people not eating for full days, but I think there's a way we can do it.
Well, I disagree when people utilize it as a way for them to kind of rebound off of a bad diet. Now, I mean, I was just thinking about my grandma. I was talking about her today. She lived to 99. Her 4 sisters all lived to the ages of 95 and 105. So, I mean, but they did that pasta every day and doing specific things that you would say.
She probably wasn't snappy. She probably wasn't.
No, she ate breakfast, lunch, and dinner, but she had a drink every night.
Right.
But she wasn't worried about organic shopping. Like, hey, come on. I mean, she just ate, the day she died, she was cooking with good, healthy olive oil. Like, she was shopping at a specific store where she knew the butcher. So it was food quality. So when people turn around, well, we weren't meant to eat all day. I'm like, no, we weren't meant to eat all day, but there's nothing wrong. I don't think there's anything wrong with having 3 square meals a day.
I am with you 100%. I'm with you 100%.
I just don't like it when people go out and they have their burgers and they're drinking vodka and then they wake up the next day and they're like, I feel full, I'm just not going to eat now. And I'm like, what's the best way to detox? In my opinion is through good organic nutrition, detox with healthy foods, and it's going to help you get the waste out of the body.
Yeah, I agree with that. As a dietitian, I was trained to always tell people you have to eat breakfast. You have to. Now I'll say, I think you should. I think studies show that it's healthy, but if you don't eat breakfast, it's okay. You might disagree.
No. I know, but the question is for someone who's pretty sensible about their lifestyle, that should cover sleep, that should cover nutrition. And I'm not saying being perfect, but, let's say it's 80-20, they don't overdo it with drinking. How often would you recommend IF? Would you recommend it maybe once a week? Would you recommend it once a month? Would you recommend it more than that?
It depends what the goals are. If you have, I mean, I work with a lot of people with diabetes, or they're insulin resistant, or they're overweight, that kind of thing. Or a lot of women going through menopause who are having a really hard time losing weight, and they're already eating pretty healthy, and they're looking for an extra edge, something else they can do. In that case, I would start with time-restricted eating. You know, I'm going to start super basic. I'm going to say maybe let's start and eat within a 12-hour window. Okay, and then I might say let's try aim for a 10-hour window or even an 8-hour window. But if you came into my office and you said, "Hey, I want a healthy diet," I would never say to you, "Start doing intermittent fasting."
Right.
I just there has to be a reason why
Right.
people want to do it. I just wouldn't say start doing it. I mean, that being said, if you want to do something like the 5 and 2, kind of see how you feel. You know, and think about
Now,
why
can you
you're
explain
doing
the
it.
Can you explain the 5 and 2 again for some of our?
Yeah, so the 5 and 2 is when 5 days a week you eat totally normal, just whatever you normally eat. I would hope it would be healthy, but totally no restrictions. 2 days a week you're going to eat about 600 or 700 calories. And again, hopefully it will be healthy
And would it have
stuff.
to be consecutive?
No, you
No,
can do
it could
whatever you
be
want.
whatever you
Yeah.
want.
So you can have 600. You can have 6. But how would that apply to say?
Like a guy your
200
size or somebody my
exactly.
size. Yeah, yeah.
So that's why I just
And
feel like
what are people looking for when they do that though? You know, like what is their end goal if they're going to do the
honestly,
measurement for those?
I'm going to shoot from the hip here. I think the majority of people out there want to drop body fat. They want to lose weight.
I mean,
Because people, because how often do you hear someone say, "Oh, you know, I'm going to do the ketogenic diet or the intermittent fasting because it's an anti-Alzheimer's protocol." You don't hear people say that. You hear people say, "I want to lose weight."
Yeah.
They don't feel right about their bodies. They don't feel right. They've been overindulging, so there's this level of guilt, and to rebound from that level of guilt, they've got to starve themselves, and that's what I'm against.
So let's talk about like who the appropriate audience and what are the appropriate.
It's going to sound
situations
contradictory to what
for,
everyone
like,
wants to hear, but I feel like it would be someone like us, someone who's conscious about what they eat, someone who lives a healthy lifestyle, and you want to go and you want to dive in on those points that you mentioned about, you know, giving the digestive system a break, or maybe, you know, increasing hormone function,
Decrease the inflammation.
decreasing inflammation. Fine, but when you're turning around for typical, what you say earlier, I work with the busy person.
Yeah.
The typical busy person who is having on average how many drinks a week? Who's who's getting how much sleep a week? What's the
So
average?
that would not be the first point I would zero in on. I would do the sleep, I would do the stress, I would do the exercise, healthy eating, meal planning. When would I use intermittent fasting? I don't use it that much, but I have people come to me, they want to learn about it, and I would start with the easy form, the time-restricted eating. That's where I would start.
Yeah.
You know, but if somebody wanted guidance, I would give them guidance on it. But it might be more for somebody who has diabetes or insulin resistant than an average healthy person.
Right. You know, and I think that's the takeaway, right? And it's like going back to, again, this is another form where your body is not, you've been eating, let's just say 3 regular meals your entire life, and then you go into a diet that is more of an extreme diet, whether it's a ketogenic or intermittent fasting, and your body is not maybe used to this sort of impact, right, from the lack of food or, you know, the food that you're actually giving it. So with that being said, I think the takeaway again is just one of these things where, one, if you're going to do it properly, right? But also have the approval of somebody that is educated within medicine and is helping you take the correct steps so you can optimize the benefits of these diets.
Right. Don't listen again. I'm going to
because-
dive in on this, and I'm picking at these influencers. Don't listen to some influencer who's turning around, who's using something that might have helped him or her drop body fat because of this. They're saying it's going to work for you. That is the most irresponsible thing that I'm seeing right now in the health and fitness world. And actually, believe it or not, there's one thing that makes me angry. It's that, because one size does not fit all.
And I'm also concerned about, you know, setting people up for disordered eating, because if now we're condoning, oh, it's good not to eat, you know, don't eat on Tuesdays and Thursdays, or eat only 500 calories. You have to be really careful on who would go on this, because a lot of people have little disordered eating tendencies, and this could just trigger. And they also have done some studies on people who do the intermittent fasting. They're more preoccupied with food, and they kind of obsess on it. Like when I was doing ketogenic diet, I was like obsessing because I'm not hitting my macros, and so I'm not a huge fan of it.
Yeah. Okay.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.